This is the Buffy and Lamar show.
Great show.
This is the Buffy and Lamar show.
Great show. Thursday.
This is the Buffy and Lamar show.
Great show.
What's happening, everybody?
This is the Buffy and Lamar show.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is the Buffy and Lamar show. I'm your host, Lamar Quincy, alongside with the co-host in life, Janita M, aka Buffy. As you can see, we're not in the studio today. This is the quarantine edition of the show. Trying to do our part to stay home and not get infected.
This is not social distancing, though. We're kind of close.
I don't really know what we can do about that. You're supposed to stay 6 feet away, but we're more like 6 inches away.
If you get sick, I'm just going to get sick.
You're going to get sick regardless. I could not touch you and you still get sick if I have something. But yeah, this is the quarantine edition. Not sure when we'll be back in the studio. Depends on, the outcome of what happens with COVID-19, but hope everybody's staying safe. Quick little story though, we were in the grocery store and the guy really kind of took this 6 feet away thing to a new level, and he really went out of his way to stay 6 feet away and pretty much almost knocked everything off of the shelves because he wanted to stay. You can't stay 6 feet away in a grocery store aisle. The aisle could be a couple of feet wide.
Probably just stay home.
He probably should have stayed home. But again, hope everybody's staying safe, and this is the show, and this is what it will be for hopefully only a week till we're free. Yeah, till we're free again, free at last. We got a guest on the show today.
Yes.
You want to introduce our guest?
Yes. So this is this amazing woman I met at a business meeting. And I asked her to come on the show because her elevator pitch was amazing. This is Crystal from Melanated, and she's going to come on and talk to us about what she's doing in our community, which is some great stuff. So, hey, Crystal.
Crystal.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
We can't hear you. That was actually perfect timing.
That was perfect timing.
The way that she came in.
I can't hear it. Let me see.
Oh.
Okay.
We lost her. She'll be back. So why do they call it the elevator pitch? Oh, there she is.
Hello.
No.
I think I'm hearing you on our phone call. Let me hang up so I can make sure I can hear you.
We hear you on the phone call.
Did this?
There we go.
We got it.
Now
Look at us. The Rona don't stop. The Rona don't stop nothing.
That's right.
Yeah. Hello. Welcome.
What's up?
To myself, to you all. Let me start again. I would say, hey world, it's your girl, the Melanated Pearl, bringing that black light to things that aren't quite right. Yeah. I come to you before you digitally to help you educate, uplift, and empower Black women. If you aren't aware, Black women been doing that. If you are looking for somebody to help you through this, get you a Black woman. Shout out to you, Lamar. You're going to survive. I'm going to tell you. To your left. I'm probably being loud. My husband is in there sleeping. But yes, thank you all for having me. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. So is it only Black women? Is it just?
No, we, let me tell you something about the power of women. If you really want to go back in this thing historically, it's never just been about Black women, because Black women have always lifted up all women. Right. But with this year, and it's kind of being overshadowed by COVID-19. We should be celebrating 100 years of voting. That's something that we take for granted, that absolutely is something that should be celebrated right now during this time as it relates to women. But if you look back historically, Black women aren't in the history books. However, they were in the front lines, passing out the flyers, in the kitchens. I mean, very similar to the civil rights movement. You know, I can jump right in. So the reason I say Black women is because I believe it's our time and our turn, and because of our nature, we naturally lift everyone up. One of the things that has led me to do this, Black women, my grandmother spent her job, her lifetime in the homes of white people. Like that's the truth. You go back to slavery, you know, we don't talk about, but Black women have always been empowered. Who were the cooks in the kitchen? Who were the head of the houses? We get into colorism, but entrepreneurship, leadership, making hard decisions, that's what we do.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, coronavirus, we got God, as you know, people like to say, we, you know, telling, you know, God about coronavirus. We need to reverse the conversation. I ain't never scared.
That's right.
I am quarantined, and as I would say, you know, us extroverts are suffering. Pray for us. We are not okay.
Yes, we will. I'm so sorry. Like, you need a hug, you need a crowd or something, right?
I'm telling you. Yes, you know, I mean, I enjoy the concerts, but it's not the same. You know, you wave your head in the air.
Right. Definitely. Well, tell us a little bit about what you do, like, within your company to help, you know, empower Black women.
So one, I am an educator of 20 plus years. So one of the things is just, one of the things now, empowering, finding resources for moms, for women. We are the first teachers, period. And to also educate women to share their story. I think part of our legacy has been, you know, if something happens to you, trauma, you don't say anything. You don't tell our business outside of their house. That actually helps those patterns repeat themselves. We have to educate each other on one. Girl, you're not by yourself. Again, that's you. I guarantee you, you are not the only one. Not in this room, not in this conversation. And so that is freeing. So one of the platforms is that I try to pull people together to tell their story. That's one of the things. You were at our spa event, which again, spa meaning spiritual preparation and affirmation. We were there to affirm each other. You saw vendors buying from each other. You education, you want to know anything about your skin. I didn't really know COVID-19 was, you know, going, but kind of sidetracked because of that event. I'm prepared. I got natural soap. You were there. I got natural soap. I got scalp oil. You know, I got, you know, some lounge wear. And it's almost like, you know, because when that first came to me, which the idea is, and going into the uplift, empower, find Black women who are just doing great things, showing their talents, and just promote them. Like that, that's our mission. It's very simple. Educate, uplift, promote. What I found in research is that one, Black people do have money. We don't know how to invest. Nobody's taught us financial literacy. But let me tell you something about the Super Bowl. If it came back right now, let me tell you how every Black person, regardless of job, employment, it's a party gonna be had.
Right.
We just need to know we can. And that's because we're resourceful. Right. You know, and the reason I can go to hashtag Black women, we'll find something to cook. Y'all gonna have it, you know, it's happening. If we go to who is leading trends, even though Black women, and I focus on Black women, Hispanic women actually make 59 cents, 63 cents on the dollar, because, you know, equality now, we don't talk about it, but we still do not get equal pay for equal work. But even with our 63 cents on the dollar, we lead all trends. When Black women say red is our favorite color, guess what? Gucci, Prada, and guess what they do?
They make red stuff.
Wait, so what's the color right now?
What is the color right now?
You know, I would say I don't know. I look black, all black everything.
It's whatever we have on today. That's the color.
You know what I was thinking when you said that you were an educator. I was kind of thinking, like, so many people are really, really saluting the educators now because their kids is at home, and they're like really appreciating you educators right now. So big up to all the educators.
Shout out.
Shout out to the educators, because I remember when I was home with my kids for a brief period of time trying to teach them, I was like, where's all the educators? I need the educators. I need an educator back because I'm not the one to do it.
You appreciate them.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you for that.
It's amazing how everybody phone work now. All the parents, they calling the teachers. You know, when I talk to my friends, they be like, who? Hello? Who's your child?
Oh, your phone
works?
It's like the right number.
Right.
So you do get text messages.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right.
But I mean, and that's one of the things, even in the education, even with our children, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm a former CASA. And this is something I just want to say, shout out to social services. We are not thinking about it, but the level, and this is something that keeps me up at night. Children are being abused right now. We joke a lot about it, about parents. Oh, you know, my child is getting on my nerves. What does that actually mean? Because children are trapped with their parents. And I don't say that, you know, lightly to make a joke, but if we don't use humor, if we don't get out and do things like this, keep people talking, say to women, guess what? You're frustrated. As I tell my friends, go in the bathroom, go into your car. You know, we have to treat this situation like when you had a little baby.
Yeah, that's right.
Because we're not used to your 7-year-old telling you everything that what's going on. And next week, this week coming up is the first. So parents are feeling a different kind of pressure. So I just paused to say, as you know, focusing on uplifting, I also try to just specifically be positive. If you follow me on social media, my page, again, I try to uplift, find Black women who are doing that thing. And again, not at a cost, because I'm at a nonprofit, because the other thing that I believe is that we have the power to invest in each other. So you all may have heard me talk about N for 10. You can put in a little for a lot. Right now, we have over $1,000 in a fund from the investment of 72 contributors, with the idea of, what if we all just put in $10 and during a time of crisis, and again, I'll open it up, you know, it'll be first come, first serve. That's probably something you'll see in my social media.
So Crystal, you know, kind of how that program works. If somebody didn't know what that program was, it's a really cool program. So explain like how it actually works in the community.
So I'm in for 10. Right now, Melanated Pearl is on Cash App and PayPal. But also, even if you can't financially contribute because of the power of social media, you can promote. So what we ask is, 1, pull out a $10 bills, 2 5s, 10 ones, and actually flash that, take a picture, put it on your social media to let people know about the idea of I'm in for 10. Awesome. What does I'm in for 10 mean? Think back to, and again, we haven't experienced it yet, but rent parties are not even a generation ago. Black people, we have the power, and we don't talk about, we make 9 times the money our parents, our grandparents, 20 times what our grandparents made. But what we have stopped doing is invest in each other.
Helping each other out. That's right.
And the idea came, and I really call it the Bridge Fund, I'm in for 10, because I know I am a woman in my 40s. I have 2 children. There have been times I've looked at my budget and I said, I'm gonna have to pay a fee. Like, I actually, me and my friends joke about in our 20s, we be like, they gonna have to get me for the fee.
They'll be all right.
They'll be all right. But that's part of financial literacy. Like, we literally are making a decision to pay a surplus for what? To go to the club? It'd be one thing if you're talking about buying medicine, but what do we buy or purchase when we make those decisions? So again, that just connects to financial literacy. So the bridge being, right now, if you have it, contribute $10 or promote the contribution of $10 through PayPal and Cash App towards Melanated Pearl. And if you are in need, again, it does require you share your story. We are right now able to pay a bill up to $250, especially something essential. Again, like I said, it's first come, first serve. I'm very transparent about, the amount of funds. But one of the things that's helped me keep this open is that I started it with a school project. Right now, I'm getting my second master's at my alma mater, Agnes Scott, go Scotties. And one of the things that we were encouraged to do was persuasion. What is something you can encourage people to do? And I believe in the power of Black women. Like, again, and this comes from my mission when I have been down, when I have been out, and I'm a woman who's been married 20 years. I went to an all-women's college.
Yay.
But when things, get rough, get rocky, I have a group of friends who, if we decided, we can have some bodies. I just cut that part out. But you know what I'm saying. We can make some things happen.
Yeah.
And they sew. And they're making their own body cream. And they're making crystals. And they're doing hair on the side. But we forget that that's profitable. And they're growing vegetables.
That's right.
Yeah.
I got a girl right now. I can get me some yams. I don't know what y'all doing out here for fresh fruits and vegetables, but and it's a Black woman that I can call. And again, that's the kind of level of entrepreneurship that I just want to uplift, highlight in our community. So
that's great, because when you support that, then we'll see more of that come out in people.
It creates a sense of community.
Yeah, because a lot of people do things like that, but they don't feel like it's profitable, or they have not seen the support in their families or with their friends for the things that they can create and, and give.
But that's another thing through social media. I'm here to tell you, hello, is everybody listening? Strangers will support you first.
Yes, they will. That's so
true. Get over it. Get over it.
It really.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because we are human, and what your family knows is how you got there. And they're not going, and they don't forgive us all our mistakes. That's another thing, because of the ways we've been taught to separate and compare. They remember, girl, I remember you stole that Snicker bar in the 7th grade. Baby, let that go. I'm a bank teller. Right at the bank. Be quiet. What you doing?
Right. Yeah.
So why do we do that? Why do we do that to each other? Why is that so hard to get past? Because that's actually a good point, and that's a good. I never really kind of thought about it in that light, in that respect.
They remember everything.
They remember everything bad, or remember your journey. And then, once you start to try to move forward on your journey, it's like difficult for other people to get past. Why do we do that?
So, I like to say, you want the honest answer or the fairy tale? I shed black light. So this is one of the reasons that's in my elevator pitch, because what does the black light do? It shows things that people don't like to realize. We are in a patriarchal society. Look at our politics. Right now, we just spent 9-10 months watching 20 people talk about how all of them were trash.
Right.
And then now it's down to 2, and they pick a side. My good friend.
Right.
And we're supposed to literally forget everything
that they said
about these people.
Yeah.
You think back to slavery, Willie Lynch. We've been purposely taught to focus on those things that are different about us and to harp on our mistakes.
Right.
Because even though competition can fuel a good product, because we are, oversaw by capitalism, the negativity is we don't invest in each other. We try to break each other down. I don't know if you all have seen Self-Made, shout out to Netflix.
Yes, that was a really good movie. Really
But the people, it's 3 things I think people missed in that. One, and I just started from the end. What if they had done it together?
Right. The 2 women.
And that's what Melanated Pearl is about. As I tell people, they be like, oh, well, you got somebody else who doing oils. I said, girl, right now I'm looking at a pair of Nikes, Reeboks, and Adidas. Don't do that.
Right.
You might have a scent somebody else want. You know what? She might have a connection to a wholesaler that can help you produce your oil. That's how we need to think. In competition, how do I make my product better? Not how do I reveal something negative about the person, because that doesn't make you or their product better.
Yeah, that's right. That's so
But
true.
we're taught that because that's how things are promoted. Look at commercials. The funniest commercials actually attack, others.
Competitors and that's true. That's very true.
We feed off of that. that kind of that negative energy. We don't like to say that, but and also just like with anything, wounds, when you cut yourself, it doesn't hurt anymore, but and I remember,
right? Definitely. Well, let me show you. I have a journal from the child party.
Yes, Kay the Other Way. Shout out to Kay the Other Way.
Please go for
artist. Yes.
She's an amazing artist. And let me just say, when I was at the event, like you were saying, it was amazing because all of the vendors were buying from each other, which I've never seen at a vendor event before, not at this level. And it was really good quality things. And just the spirit of all the women was excellent. So you did a great job. I would love to see that more, just kind of all over, where you can just celebrate each other, lift each other up, and just remember that, we can support each other and really make a big difference in the way that we use our money. So.
And the thing is, it was really important. It was called I Love Black Women. We were in a Black-owned space. Shout out to Be Mari Events in downtown Jonesboro. Another Black married couple, Black Love Wins. That is full service. I mean, you walk in the door, there is a theme. If you talk to them about what you want, there literally can be a vibe on both sides. As you can see, we moved from the art, gallery. We had a range of people, literally in age from, I think our youngest vendor was like 23, all the way up to our food vendor who was, I could not believe in, I think her very glorious, beautiful 60s.
I know.
Yes. I mean, you weren't there, but we asked women who were over 50 to wear purple because we want to highlight them as royalty, their experience, their contribution. And I should have started checking IDs because some people, I mean, I know Black don't crack, but baby.
So I got a quick question. What role does your husband play in your organization? Is he a lieutenant, or is he how do you guys work together on that?
So one, he's the chief financial officer. I am definitely the extrovert. He's the introvert. Motivation, I will say, and this is something, I can't say enough. With Black men, when you get a Black queen who's an entrepreneur, don't be in competition with her. Like, again, I don't understand, and I've been married, like I said, 20 years. I've been with my husband since 18, so I know it's a little different.
Yeah.
But I don't understand the separation of money and all these things that people, I'm like, what y'all doing? And really, it's just in your head because a marriage is a contractual agreement, but that's a different thing for a different day. But I would say his main support is freedom. Like I said, the freedom to, talk finances. We got 3 car notes over here. I got a Pearl van because I need to be mobile. And so that means that these bills that I was paying in our house, I'm not going to pay anymore. And so therefore, I got a hustle man. So, yes, he has he works for a school. He a tech guy. He doing DoorDash. He's out here, one of these essentials delivering, because his thing is we need to stack this because, he knows me. We've been together 24 years. This dream doesn't go away. My main problem is I was born a philanthropist, but in poverty. So that's
my problem too. I tell him that all the time. Like, I was supposed to be rich. Like, what are y'all doing? Yes, exactly.
So I have a heart to give.
Exactly.
Yes. And I will also say another thing is at no point has that been a barrier. Like one of the things I tell people, just shout out to Black men. I am the only female, in my family. I grew up with 2 brothers. I'm the oldest of 2 brothers. I have 2 sons, twin boys, a husband, and I had a dad in my house. So I know the power of being surrounded by the protection that is Black men. And I don't have any negative trauma in my story that would make me distrusting of them, which is not every Black woman's story. But also, we have to forgive each other and forgive. And again, that goes back to that education of, if you didn't learn ownership of your body, what does that mean later in your relationships? What do you then tell your daughter when she's now having relationships? If you've been in a domestic relationship and it's ended, like, forgive yourself, you know, but share those stories. How did you exit? And that's a lot, even just getting to going back to that educate, uplift, empower. There's life in those stories because we have survived 100% of the worst days of our life. We already survived.
And you can help somebody else that's right in the middle of theirs. Definitely. That's awesome.
So one thing that I want to say, and I'm saying this speaking as a Black man, right? I think what you're doing is amazing. And I speak to all the Black men, like you were saying, there's no need to be in competition with women. I think sometimes men feel like that their significance is attacked from the success of a Black woman, but that's not the case. And I think that the fact that, you know, your husband supports you and encourages you to be successful, I think that that's amazing. Me personally, whatever I can do to contribute or we can do together to contribute to your organization and what you're doing, you know, just say it. I think that's amazing, because I have a Black.
Well, thank you. And I will tell you all just, again, one quick story, because I said we're about to celebrate 20 years. One of the things, because we did, and everybody don't do this, we had our children first and then we got married. Look, we got together.
Right. That's all that is.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
One of the things I tell people is, my husband said to me very squarely, I need you to get a degree. Like, and we literally got married. We got engaged on Christmas Eve, 1999. I graduated in May. We on a Saturday. We had a party that Sunday. We flew to Vegas, and we got married on that Wednesday.
Wow.
I'm back at my alma mater 20 years later, and I mean, before Corona, we were planning on graduating on May 16th, and we will celebrate our 20th wedding anniversary on May 17th. So I also say that to say, Black men, if you want to put some pressure on Black women, give them some expectations. Say, baby, you know what? I expect you to start a business. Girl, as much hair as you're doing,
exactly.
You know,
Open up
get you a chair. Why don't you spend some time? Let's invest some money. So, because guess what, Black men? We listen to y'all. This the other thing. If my husband said, and I say, I thank for not the barrier, because if he says, sit your butt down somewhere,
right.
I'm a pause.
We can't afford to do that.
We can't afford to do that.
That's the worst.
I think that, and I don't want to stray too far, but I think that where that stumbles or where that gets off course is because we as Black men sometimes don't know how to express our leadership. And when you express your leadership in the correct way, most of the time women respond to it. And you'll usually get a positive result when you know how to express your leadership in the correct way. So education matters.
That's right.
Yes. And then we be the model. You know, you all are a model. I'm a model. I always talk about Tammy being a model of what, you know, Black love looks like. And it's not always pretty. Now, I'm not going to tell you we all, you know, hugged up over here. But you have to agree to be in it. You know, that's the other thing. We talk about commitment. You know, I'm a lawyer. I'm a Pisces. I tell people I feel all the emotions. But, you know, being committed to something, and, you know, one of the things is I am committed to the success of Black women. A lot of people, you know, you have a choice, and I've had aunts who, when times when my mother couldn't, decided that I could. Right. Like, you know, that they made decisions. I am an aunt of, you know, 3 nieces and a nephew, and I take privilege in stepping in. Although my little brother and his wife, as they get older, they become more responsible. But, you know, that is a privilege of that community, and it's something I just want to promote. Our grandmothers are important, and always have been. Another focus on Black women, and this is a statistic that is only true for Black women. Black women work until they die. Grandmothers get about 2 years. When Black women stop working, we are ill, and or we literally, something has physically happened, and then people don't look at that statistic. We are one of the only groups that just do that. My mother right now is a caretaker in her 60s. And I'm like, slow down.
Right.
So when we go back to this whole COVID-19 and this Rona, and people are talking about what we got to sacrifice, I'm like, hold on. I don't know no Black people out here sacrificing grandmothers. Wait,
Right.
Exactly.
Let's just wait a minute, because there's worth there. We have to go back historically and look at how do we contribute? Who have been the connectors with single mothers right now? Their mothers, their aunts. There's power in that. And again, finding the best models, just like a business model. Blended families. We have to share those stories, because it doesn't look, families, life, and definitely coming out of this, things won't look the way they did 2 years ago.
Right. So for anybody who wants to know more information about you and your organization and all of the things that you're doing, give them all of your social media, your web information. How do they contact you? Let everybody know all of that.
So one thing you can do is, if you are tech savvy, you can text 888-111. Text Pearl Girl, all lowercase, one word, and you will get a reply that will connect you to all of my social media. I am on all social media aspects, and so if you spell it correctly, Melanated Pearl, MELANATED, Pearl, in Google, because the name is unique, as Black women are, usually I pop right up. You can find me on Instagram, melanated_pearl, Twitter, just hashtag melanated pearl. So again, BN for 10. One of the things you'll see, as I said, right now we're still in the midst, but as you know, in Georgia specifically, the Georgia governor has extended school closures to 2024. And people have now been out of work. I'm one of the people feeling that financial slump, but what we will be doing is collecting supplies, and actually setting up for people to do some pickup, because I know right now, those people who were hoarding or we're getting to the end. And so, as again, it's going to be Black women. Find somebody. I'm thinking about give me a little vegetable garden, as we can only, social distance, learn something new, learn a new skill. We are one generation away from all of us being Black farmers.
Right.
By hook or crook. And now everything's in a can. We can do better than that.
Right.
Told you we needed a farm.
I was never objective to having a farm. I'll eat whatever you grow.
Okay, all right, that's the deal.
I'll go out and kill it, and then you come back and you cook it.
That's the deal. We got it.
Or you
I love it.
So we never have cash, so people can do Cash App too, right?
Yes, Cash App is the $, Melanated Pearl Corp.
Okay.
Add the CORP, and again, I don't know if everybody can see the logo, but it's pretty distinct, a little Black girl inside of a pearl. And just to let you know that Pearl stands for Passionate, Engaged, Activist, Resisting Limits. If you don't know how pearl is made, it is basically a oyster refusing to die. Anything that gets in there is coated. Think about that. The other thing, and I just took a trip to Ghana, and as you can see, I can talk circles around the power of Black women. I took a trip to Ghana in July 2019, and one of the things that really opened my eyes as I went through the castle is that the people said, as African American, one of the things that we forget is that we are the descendants of people who refuse to die. People like to say, choose to survive. You can think about it, but to me, I'm empowered by the fact of, no, it ain't, it will not destroy me. So taking this thing to this corona virus, be safe, Be protected. I listened to the show yesterday, but don't forget to live your life. Life is for the living.
Right.
And if you really feel down, go do something for somebody else. The best way to make yourself feel better is to uplift someone else.
Right. That's right.
Well, we thank you for coming on the show. We
Yes,
appreciate
thank
you.
you.
You have so much positive energy. I feel the energy. You know, I feel like going outside now. And, I'm
And
gonna get
starting our garden.
No, I'm not starting the garden.
I love how you slipped that in. Good job. Good job.
Not today. We're not starting the garden. You start the garden and I'll help you finish it.
You support me.
Yeah, I support you in the garden. Thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate you, Crystal.
Thank you all. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep shedding that black light, black love. And I look forward to listening to the rest of the quarantine edition.
Yes.
The quarantine edition, yes.
All right. Peace and love.
Right.
All right.
All right, so thanks to Crystal for coming on the show. That was good. So much enlightening, positive information. You heard the website and all of the information and the text information on how to contact her. So support Black women. They're doing really, really big things. We thank you guys for listening to the show, Quarantine Edition. This is the Buffy and Lamar Show. Remember, social medias at Buffy and Lamar on Instagram, the Buffy and Lamar Show on Facebook. The website is buffyandlamar.com. Still can get the audio podcast, Stitcher, Apple, TuneIn, iHeart, Spotify, you know, all that good stuff. You got anything you want to add? No. Okay. This is the Buffy and Lamar Show. We thank you guys for tuning in. Catch y'all next week. Peace.